hope you all are having a great day, great week, morning, weekend, whatever day this falls on. We never know, right? So never know when you're going to get to reading and listening and find me. But I hope you're all doing wonderful. And today, I've had an interesting week of prayer and things coming to mind that I felt led to talk to you about. And I hope I express this correctly today. I prayed that it would come across correctly. And sometimes I will do this, video podcast, and I'll think, I don't know if that will mean anything to anybody, or if it will have made sense to someone else besides myself, or what's going to happen with it. And it's just so amazing because I actually felt that way last week, and it was almost immediate within maybe even an hour of posting that I got a text telling me how much that ministered to someone. And I thought, well, if it was just for her, then it was worth it. And I'm glad that it spoke to someone. God used it how it was supposed to be used. So I wrote me a few notes down because I just kept having the word budget come to mind. And I thought, okay, am I supposed to talk about, budgeting, like our finances? Well, before I go further into my where I'm going with this, it is important that you budget your finances. And some of the things that my husband and I have learned through the years in some of the financial classes that we took is very important to have a budget. And if you don't have one, I encourage you, no matter how old you are, how young you are, to have a budget, because I wish that I had learned a lot of these things sooner in life. And of course, we say those all throughout life as we learn things, but I definitely want to share with people, write down every little thing. And if you have to take a notebook or a journal with you for a week to figure out what you spend money on, because maybe you don't know where it's going exactly. I mean, your power bill, your water bill, your telephone bill, your internet bill, your house payment, those kind of things are pretty standard, but then you're like, why do I not have anything left over? Now, it might be that you're living paycheck to paycheck and there is nothing else, but if you take that notepad with you, because I've encouraged my kids to do this before, you write down, I bought a pack of gum for $1.38. I ran by the convenience store to get gas, and I grabbed a pack of crackers and a Coke. Okay, those things need to be written in that notebook, just like your gas needs to be written down too, for you to make a true budget. We went by so-and-so and they were having a sale. Or I went to the thrift store and I spent $20, write it on your list. You need to write down every penny that you're spending. And once you see that, then you know how to plan, but you also might see where you've got to cut back. And, planning for everything like that, when you do have a hiccup, you've already planned it in, because then you need to go in and plan for miscellaneous auto need, whether it's your regular oil change needs to be worked into your budget, but you needed new tires, or a belt broke, all kinds of things that can happen. So those little miscellaneous things need to be figured into your budget. And then what you start doing is you create a fund that is hidden, that you don't touch, that is for true emergencies. And that fund or that savings account or that whatever, however you hide it, it's not for, well, we needed a personal day, so the family and I went to Helen. No, that's not that fund. That fund is not vacation. That fund is not, we wanted to go out to dinner as a family. We needed a new TV. None of those things are emergencies. So that's not what that's for. Now, if you, have a ATV accident, or you had something, and that could be an emergency fund because you've had to pay a extra deductible at the hospital, or you don't have insurance and you've had to pay for that, or something major happened to your vehicle. It has to be repaired for you to go to work to make money. That could be, you'll know what your emergencies are, but they're not going to be going out to dinner or buying a new dress or a new fishing rod. It's not going to be any of those kind of things. But anyway, so financial budgeting is very important. I don't want you to think that it's not. And that is one of the things that you do need a budget for, is your finances. And if you don't have one, I just want to encourage you to do it and be true about it. Be real, because if you're not honest with yourself about what you're spending your money on, you can't do it. It's just not going to happen. And Michael and I found that out when we were doing it together. We had to talk about things we didn't like to talk about. And we started meeting once a week just to go over the budget. We saw each other every day. But just to go over the budget in the beginning once a week. Then it got to be once a month. Now it's about once every couple months. We'll go over it again, see if there's anything we need to adjust, see where we are, if our spending has changed, what are we doing differently, what our savings is looking like, those kind of things. And it has really, really, really helped, because we didn't realize the things we were spending on that add up. So that is one thing. But, and I didn't mean to go so long on that, but budgeting or supplying yourself wisely in your life, yes, your financial budget is important. What other kinds of things do we budget or supply ourselves with or need to? Okay, so we said finances and money, obviously. Time. We're going to get back to that one. Prayer and Bible study, visits with other human beings, visits with animals, or if you don't care for animals or don't have animals or don't want to visit with animals, nature, whether it's going outside or with your plants, start nurturing a plant, or if it's your flower garden, those kind of things. How much we eat and exercise is something else. So all of these items, or all of these subcategories, are going to fall into our budget, our supplying ourselves wisely for our life. All of these areas we need to look at. Okay, so there's 24 hours in a day. 8 to 9 of those hours we sleep. Okay, you may not be physically asleep. Maybe you're preparing for sleep, whatever, laying in the bed, waiting to go to sleep, whatever. We're going to say 8 to 9 hours because it's good to have 7 to 8 hours. So we'll say 8 to 9 hours of prepare. So that makes it where you've got 15 hours a day for your budget or your life supply here. Okay, well, most of the time on work days, that's 9 or 10 hours taken away. And the reason I say 9 to 10 hours, you may work 7 to 8 hours, and then you may have a commute, or there's something about that may be work related. You may only have 8 hours that involves work, and you can adjust your schedule. But right now we're going to say 9 to 10 are between travel and working our job. Let's say that's 5 days a week. Some of you may do it 6 days a week. I don't know. And so then the 2 days off, you have approximately the whole 15 hours. If you have 2 days off, 1 day off, 2 days off, you have the whole 15 hours. Otherwise, on those work days, if you take away another 10 from your 15 hours, you have 5 hours a day that you need to budget or plan your supply wisely for your life. And that's where those 5 hours a day or those 15 hours on your day off, we need to make sure that we've got our finances and our money budgeted properly, which that's not something that we're going to be, it doesn't fall in like the rest of these, but that's still important. So that's important 7 days a week, obviously. Your time. Okay. So what are we doing with our time? Okay, I know people that immediately when their kids get out of school, it is like running 100 miles an hour between all their children's practices, their club meetings, finding some dinner in there somewhere, finding homework time in there somewhere, bath and bed in that 5 hours, 6 hours, whatever they have. So how do they budget that time? Well, that's tough, but let's put something down on paper. What are we doing? Because you know what happens, y'all? Because I do it too. We go, okay, there's just no time. The day just went. You know, I was doing this and this and this. I spent 2 hours trying to prepare and fix supper and get it on the table and do all this. And you know, and then it's bedtime. And we're like, I have no time. Every person that I talk to, unless they're living in a senior home, but every person that I talk to that works, drives, has kids, or whatever, their biggest thing is, we just don't have time. Well, I had somebody tell me one time, you make time for what's important. So you are important. I am important, okay? So we've got to make this time so that we can be wise about what we need in our life. So is prayer and Bible study important to you? Let me tell you, it's extremely important to me. Because I'm going to tell you something, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have anything that I have, because nothing I have belongs to me anyway. It belongs to my Heavenly Father. And everything I have, every breath I take, every opportunity I have is from Him. So I need to give Him prayer and Bible study every single day. Some days my Bible study is more of a mini one, and I don't like that, and I'm not happy about it, but I try to get something in there. Other days, I can sit down and I have more time, and I make more time, and the time's there. It's all about priorities. Would you rather watch that TV show? You probably would. Would you rather play your game on your phone? You probably would, because when you play that game, you're just in la la land and you don't have to think. But I'm going to tell you what, that game doesn't give you life. That TV show, it doesn't give you life. They don't supply your needs. They supply what you want at the time, but they need to come on down the totem pole on where we're budgeting our time. So visits with other humans, that's important. Do you have to do it every day? No. But work that in your budget. Make you a plan. You're going to have one budget that's for your finances, because that's separate. That's a different thing right there, okay? And you're going to have a journal for it so that you can write down everything you're spending. Then I want you to have another journal, or you can use that same one and write on pages if it doesn't bother you to do that. And write down things like, I spent 30 minutes visiting my neighbor today, or I spent 20 minutes with the neighbor's dog. Okay, we can have visits with humans, we can have visits with animals, visits with nature, visits with our plants and our flower bed. I know that sounds crazy to some people, they're living things. Look, I love my flowers, I love my plants. I haven't been giving them enough attention lately, and I need to do that. So in our budget, we're going to write down what we're supplying our life with here, okay? Every day, I'm going to commit to this on my Bible study and my prayer time. Let's say you don't do a Bible study and you just do it all in prayer. That's okay too. This is for you, okay? Then you might have, I played with the dog for an hour outside, okay? You just visited with your animals and your nature. Okay, I spent 30 minutes talking to my mom, or I went to the nursing home and I spent 2 hours visiting with the people there. Okay, then we need to write down what we're eating. You need to be budgeting your food. And the reason I tell you that is because look at our world. Everybody's just taking a shot to get skinny. But guess what? They're not getting healthy. So write down what you're eating. I'm going to tell you, I am about to start. Michael and I did this before, and I really liked it. I even weighed my food. But I started writing down what I was eating, and I wrote down my calories. I wrote down my sugar. I wrote down my carbohydrates, fiber, protein. Seems like I had one more, probably my fat. I don't know, but I'm not really worried about fat. But I wrote down all of this, and I looked at how many calories I was eating a day and what I was eating. And I got healthier during that time. I mean, I was healthier. And so I'm going to start doing that again. Okay, we fall off the wagon sometimes. We get away from those things that are good habits. Let's get back on that. Okay? So we're going to budget, like I said, a separate one for our finances and money. Then we're going to write down what are we doing with our time each day. If you have 5 hours, you have 4 hours, you have 10 hours, whatever you have. Budget yourself what you're going to do with each amount of time for that whole time period. Sometimes you may not stick to it. Okay? It's okay. Make you a note why you didn't stick to it that day, what you went and did. Get back on track tomorrow. Make this important to you because it's making a better life for you. You know, our lives should be completely committed to God and surrendered to Him. And He can help you budget your time. But seeking Him and allowing Him to provide everything that we need is a fulfilled life. So when we're doing these things, the prayer and Bible study, the visits with other people, visits with animals, all these things, it's just taking more control of our time, but you will also start focusing on what's most important in your life. We all need this. It's hard to get in the habit, but once you do this for a couple weeks, say, okay, I'm going to do this for 2 weeks, or I'm going to do this for 4 weeks. You'll want to keep doing it. And then you'll have your structure, and you'll feel so much better. Because when we waste time just playing games, I'm not saying you can't play a game. You can write down you're going to spend 30 minutes on your game. But your time is valuable, and when you use it like it's valuable, you will feel so fulfilled, so rich. And you know what? Rich is not in money. We are rich. We are so blessed. We have so much. And don't feed yourself excuses about why you can't do this, because there's not a soul that can't do this. You can. We all can. I just want you to be a healthier, happier you. I hope you all have a great day. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to our next visit. Take care. Bye-bye.